I think. I don't know.
So many episodes.
So many episodes, so little time. Do we want to start off with a little congratulations to the MFP boys, Chris? Sure. And Todd O'Leary on his car.
Over in Australia.
Over in
the
Australia.
Mossies, boy.
Yep, the Mossies getting down.
It's the first sports thing I've seen out of there that's not a big burnout.
Well, it's interesting for them because they either haven't had a Mustang ever or haven't had a Mustang for a long time until S550.
That's true.
So, like, Mustang records don't have a lot of lineage
they have
there.
the Falcon
Yeah, they have Falcon.
Platform over there or whatever.
I don't know what I'd prefer, Falcon or Mustang.
I like the Falcon because it's different.
I like Falcons, four-door Falcons.
But then that's probably why they like the Mustang, because the Mustang's different.
Yeah, exactly.
To them. They'd rather, who wants another Falcon?
So, for those out in viewer lands, you're congratulating him because...
He is now Todd now owns the fastest blower Mustang quarter-mile-wise in Australia. Yes. At least if we're talking about S550, I don't know if there's some like imported notchbacks or something down there, or imported older cars.
Or something with a billet blown
my
home and stick
understanding
it
it was
to
an S550
Exactly.
GT record.
Yep, S550 blower GT record. There's a turbo car down there that's 922, but we're going for him next.
Turbskis.
Because that was like I'd say like the first full pass once the tune was dialed in, and now he's kicked out of the track until he does a parachute in a cage.
Oh, they have the same rules apply?
Yeah, except their tiers are more strict at like the 10-second bracket. Like,
really?
A lot of the newer body style cars here, until you get to like bottom nines, they're not really looking for a parachute. He only trapped 145 and a half, and they want a parachute in a cage.
But they're like the crazy Aussies. Usually it's like,
I know, right? It's
you
like,
could throw an alligator or a crocodile in the back seat.
Dude, pick how crazy you want to get about safety. Because like there's some regards where it's like there's clearly no regard for safety.
Right.
Or very little. So it's like, why cage? But yeah, so congrats to Todd. Congrats to Matt at MFP. Matt is the one that installed the blower kit and the fuel system and all that stuff on the car. But yeah, a little shout out to our Australian boys. I guess we'll start taking questions now, unless we... Oh, Shelby Fest. We're the whole reason this show's early today is because I'm leaving to go to Shelby Fest in Jefferson City, Missouri. So if you're out in that part of town and you want to come say hi to me, Matt, and or not me, Matt, me and Mike. Matt's not coming. Matt's staying behind. Me and Mike, come see us out at the Capitol Plaza Hotel out in Jefferson City, Missouri. We'll be there for... Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday we'll be at the Main Street with Dyno doing, I think we have 1 or 2 installs in the morning, and then hopefully Dyno Day the rest of the day.
You guys are busy.
Yeah.
You guys got a ton of stuff to do.
Yeah.
Justin Forrest is giving love to Matt's truck.
Matt's truck? Your diesel?
I guess.
Yeah, he's got a smiley face with the big hearts.
Oh,
is
man.
that guy I gave her a ride to?
Maybe.
Justin's car's here.
He has the
Possibly.
Deep Impact Blue 1314 GT500.
Yeah.
Tim Ovis says, what are the coldest and hottest temps you have tuned for?
Like ambient temps? Or like coolant temps or downstream air temps? I've seen a lot.
I am guessing he's probably talking about ambient, but...
I would guess so too.
Ambient's like 120s. Ambient.
Yeah.
Do a lot of guys in the Middle East, and then occasionally get the high temperatures out in like Arizona and stuff. Yeah,
and then for coldest, I mean, I've got customers in Minnesota and stuff that... I've got customers in like British Columbia that are stupid cold. And then we've got a couple in Alaska, northern Germany, Switzerland, all that type of stuff. I've done some Germany stuff, but... So Tim says yes, ambience, and Justin Forrest says yes, and yes, you did give him a ride. That's right, that was him. He's a nice dude.
I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
No, I say he's a nice guy. So we talked a lot.
Just because there's only been one other time that you've actually been on the show, it would probably be good that we kind of introduce who Matt is again. Reintroduce who Matt is. Reintroduce. So Matt is one of the new calibrators. Yes. Or the new calibrator. Yeah, I'm still the new calibrator. Still the NFG. And what is your forte? Oh, the difference between me is I'm Ford, Chevy, and Dodge, not just Ford. So that was the main reason I got added to the team, is so we can expand out, and I'm pretty fluent in all platforms. So. And fluent in Holly.
Yeah, and Holley EFI as well. So it broadens what we can cover. So that was the main reason.
We have a bigger cast net now.
So for you people who are angry about the Camaro being on the dyno,
that is why.
Matt is responsible for your anger.
Yes.
Matt is responsible for your anger. Yes.
I'm still a Ford guy. I just am fluent in all platforms.
What do you drive, Matt?
I drive all Fords. I have a 2012 Mustang, a lava red Mustang GT with an F1X on it, and then I've got my 14 Super Duty as well. So I've always had, and I've had Lightnings, I've had Cobras. So I'm still a Ford guy. It's just
and
that
Escort ZX2s and
no
SVT Focuses.
Yeah, and SVT Focuses. I've had several SVT Focuses. I love them. I have a small place in my heart for them. So I've had them all. So I'm just happen to be fluent on all 3 platforms, so it works out.
So as we've alluded to before in our video, and as I've put out there, we are taking in-house tuning for different platforms at this point. And Matt would be the contact man for tuning support. So with that said, we're starting to get some stuff rolling in. So I'm going to read off some comments that we have and hit a few questions. So Rick says, good morning, Joe, Matt, and Carrie.
Hello. Hola, Ricky.
Mad Max says, still waiting for my tune, Papa Joe.
Oh, man.
So throwing that out there. Keegan Daly says he's watching from his lunch break today. So it's
cool
for him.
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
Lunch break time.
Let's see here. Dale Singh says, hi, guys.
Hello.
Hola.
Dan Coberman says, Joe, that beard is looking strong.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Turbinator Lou says, holy shit, you guys are early today. Because Joe is taking off to go to Shelby Fest.
Yes.
And if you guys want it to forever be at this time, take a poll.
We gotta say we could do a vote. See what works best for
Early
people.
bird gets the worm, or do you guys want to be the after lunch type stuff? Yeah, just let us know what you guys prefer in the comments, or slide into some DMs.
Dorian says, hey guys. Dorian's on the line.
Hola, Dorian.
Alexander with Shelby Canada West.
Nice.
Is on the line as well. Let's see here. Dave McGinnis says, hey guys, this is my first time being able to watch your live chat, but I follow the channel religiously.
Oh, nice.
Good to hear.
So welcome. This must be a good time for you too, David.
Maybe we're onto something here.
See?
Robert says, hey VMP team. He's got a 2012 GT500 with a twin 67mm throttle body, VMP fuel pump booster, JLT123, triple pass, 170 T-stat. You will be adding a Gen 2R with just a 2.4 pulley on 93.
My man.
Does he need 55 or bigger injectors?
Yes, 56, preferably like a GT500, 56 or 52, depending on what pressure rating you're looking at it at. We refer to it as a 56. The box says 52. So definitely get some of those.
Yeah, I would.
Those 47s aren't going to be happy with it.
I don't play around with fuel anyway. I go straight to like ID 1000s.
Yep.
I'd rather have too much.
Yep.
Tim Ovis is saying hi. So
Hola,
hi,
Tim.
Hello, Tim.
John Arber's on the line saying
Oh,
hi.
man. Everybody today.
I'm telling you, we're onto something.
John F says, hi guys. Joe, I flashed the high octane tune for my Gen 3. When I use the app, it calculates more than 1 can of professional boost. And can you give me some guidance? I think the tune is for 103 octane. Is that correct?
So is it John Frederick?
It just says John F, so I'm guessing.
So I don't know what app you're using, maybe the Boostain app, but your tank should be about 15 to 15.7 gallons. Your fill up is probably going to be closer to 14 and a half, depending on how low you're getting it. And I believe based on our calculations for the different ratios and stuff, it ends up putting so if you're filling up with a full tank and using professional, it puts you around 102 or 103, but the tune isn't so much set for like 100 octane versus 101 octane versus 103 versus 104. There's very
a negligible difference.
Exactly. So basically the tune is set up for 100 plus octane. So even if you mix the butane to right at 100 octane, you should be good. There's not like a necessarily varying degree once we get over that 100 octane. The bigger difference is when we're talking about like race fuels and having to reset stoichiometric air-fuel ratio in the tune to make sure that it's not going to be rich or lean with a race gas. But there's a lot of race fuels out there that have a lot of different characteristics, both with like the rate of burn and how timing happy they are versus some of them don't like a lot of timing. So like there's different stuff we do for specific race fuels and the different octanes of race fuels out there. But if we're talking 93 in butane, you can mix it anywhere from 100 to 103 octane. And how I'm going to tune the car is largely going to stay the same. You're just getting a varying degree of added safety margin.
So John Erber has a project car, a Mr. Chrome, that he's working on right now.
Ooh, nice.
And he wants to know, how can I keep pump gas stable while the car is down without killing the octane?
Don't use fuel stabilizer. Use something like Bustane. If I recall correctly, if you watch our Bustane episode, which I think you were actually here for, but watch the Bustane episode. If I recall correctly, the owner of Bustane said that Bustane actually acts as a fuel stabilizer as well as a...
I've always used the Lucas Green stuff because I use that to treat E85, but it works on E10 as well, and it keeps all the water out of the... But I never thought of Bustane. It probably would work better.
Yeah, so in summary, I'd say just watch the Bustane video, because if I recall correctly, we talked a little bit about its different properties, and if I recall correctly, one of them was that it helps stabilize the fuel.
I think he thought that, but he just wasn't sure. He wanted to double check.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Robert Whedon says, welcome, Matt.
Thank you.
Hola.
Dale says, Joe, love the Fox body swap you tune. Any more videos? You'd like to see it.
So if you've seen the first video and the second video, the closest you're going to get to a third video is if we took video when it was on the dyno here at the dyno day a couple weeks ago. Other than that, no real video stuff. I could see if Neil wants to send me some when he goes to the track, but nothing that we've taken.
Yeah, I don't think that we actually have full video of it when it was here for that event, but I'll double check. If I did, it was with my cell phone.
10-4.
Coyote Chris says, hey Joe, since Bossman ain't here, you should leak when the 18 supercharger's coming out.
That's one of those things that Justin holds very close to the vest. I don't even have a lot of detail on it. That's kind of like
what's
his
an 18?
Thing. Exactly. What is an 18?
What is this 18 you speak of?
Yeah, he'll engage us for like kind of like design ideas and things we want to see in it, but in terms of like deadlines and when stuff's happening, that's all his sandbox.
Yeah.
Brandon Cormier says, F-150 tune ready for long tubes and Mustang.
Nice.
Mad Max says, how can you make my exhaust shoot flames and sound louder for exhaust competition?
A whole bunch of negative spark retard on D-cell. And then make the bottom end of the map stupid rich.
And an N2MB.
Yeah, N2MB would be the quickest shortcut to exhaust competition silliness.
Neil says he has an 11 GT500 with a 2.3 TBS. BPS high flow elbow, 1314 injectors. Fuel pump booster, 2.4 upper, 127 JLT. Twin 67. It's green Catalytic pipe on VMP 91 octane tune. Arizona has bad gas.
Even their E85 is just E54.
Yeah.
Still gets the job done though.
And he says it put down 657 horsepower and 600 torque. What would cause the low torque?
I wouldn't say that torque is necessarily low on that setup.
Sounds about right to me.
Torque on those peaks at about usually 3,500 to 4,500. So if we made timing a little bit soft on the what we call the hit or the lower end of the pole to keep it more safe on 91 octane, that might be why you're getting a perceived lower torque number. if you want, we could do like a boosting tune that brings timing in a bit quicker, even at the lower RPM range, and you can get your peak torque number higher. But your power number sounds strong, and your torque number sounds like it's in the ballpark. So I don't know that there's really anything to be concerned about. But if you want more, boosting's probably going to be your best shortcut.
Besides obvious, if there's any spinning or clutch slippage or anything like that.
Exactly.
But it doesn't sound like it.
EJ says, hi guys, see you Saturday, hoping for good dyno weather.
I think everyone is. Saturday is the only day that looks like it's going to be clear. Every other day it looks like there's going to be some sort of rain at one point or another during the day.
In Missouri?
In Missouri.
Larry Duran says, we're going to get wet at Shelby Fest.
Oh yeah, BB.
Or even, because I got wet in Atlanta.
Yeah.
You did get wet.
Oh, it rained the whole weekend.
James says, what's up, guys? How are race vehicles running?
Race vehicles. So, like, the only shop race vehicles, per se, are, like, Rebecca's cars. And that's technically Rebecca Starkey Racing.
Whoa. Chucky?
Chucky. I don't know that Chucky's a race car. He's a street car right now.
He is now.
Yeah, this is true.
He is now. He's all lightweight and got no exhaust on it.
We got Chucky, we got Rebecca's, we have every once in a while the F-150.
Yeah, and
mine's getting another converter.
I don't consider those race cars though. Those are like street cars that go to the track.
Yeah.
So like the only like quote unquote race car to me is like Rebecca's cars. And even then only one of them is currently a race car.
And like mine technically runs, but
those are
a converter.
Exactly. In terms of Rebecca stuff, she just had the baby, so probably a month or two she'll be back out there doing her thing. But
no, this is Rebecca. She's probably working on it right now.
This is true. This is very true. But yeah, hit up the Burnout box. She can give you more detail about her stuff.
Let's see here. 17 Ralph Sam says, hey guys.
Hello. Hola.
Neil says, thanks for your comments.
No problem, Neil.
Victor Xavier says, good morning guys. Hope all is well.
Hello.
Hola.
Robert says, thank you so much. Love the new time.
Oh,
I'm telling you what.
That's 2 upvotes for the 11 o'clock time slot.
3.
Oh man.
David Murdoch says, hey guys.
Hola, David. How's that Gen 3 doing?
Tim says, got a 19 F-150. What are some good starting upgrades in your opinion?
More Octane. And in terms of starting upgrades, I'd say I need to know what your goal is with the truck, because I can tell you XYZ, but if your goal is to be 500 or 600 wheel within the next 2 months, then
yeah, you gotta go.
I would just say skip all that stuff and just go straight to a blower, but need a little bit more clarity on that.
Daryl wants to know, can I run E85 with boost?
Yeah, as long as you have the fuel system to support it.
as long as you have the fuel system for it.
Eli says, how much power can a stock motor on an 11 GT500 make reliably? No fuel pump booster, stock injectors. Just a ported stock blower, pulley swap on 93.
I'd say without a fuel pump booster and on a stock blower, you're probably at where you're at.
Yeah. He's going to be close already.
That, and it's like, people always want this reliable thing, and it's like, stock cars have warranties.
Yeah.
Because they occasionally break, so.
How do I make 1,000 horsepower reliably? You don't.
You play the gamble right and make sure all your ducks in a row, and it might live a long time, but you might.
It's only making 3 times what it was designed to make. It'll be fine.
Exactly. So I like to just kind of throw that reliably thing out the window and just phrase it as, what can I do to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to make sure it stays together?
Yeah, there's certainly, you can do preventative maintenance, and you can certainly do things
and preventative mods.
Yeah, you can do certain mods that give you a fighting chance, but nothing's ironclad.
No. It's like you can do everything right in life, eat the perfect stuff, work out perfectly, and have a heart attack.
Actually, I've proven this. I'll give you wisdom. If you want your engine to last forever, buy a forged engine and put it next to the car in the garage. And the one that is in the car will never, ever break.
Yeah.
Ever. Now, you take that engine and you sell it because you don't need it, and it's breaking tomorrow.
Your engine will break the next day.
Yes, I have proven this theory.
We got another vote for the new time.
That's it.
Oh, man.
It just came in. 17 Ross Sam says, Joe, in your opinion, what do you think of Sunoco 260 GT Plus?
I think it's fine.
I've used that. What's that compared to?
Sunoco 260 GT, not Plus. It's just like 100 octane pump.
So, okay, it's just like their regular 100 unleaded?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I think they actually have a Sunoco 100, and then they have Sunoco 260 GT, but the two are very similar. I think one you can get in like pails, and the other one's
That's
like
what I think. Okay.
So, John F. says, thanks, Joe. I currently put 1 can of Bustane to a fuel of tank.
Yeah, that should be perfect.
It's
fine.
Yeah.
Ian says, since y'all list Chevy and Dodge on your site, can we expect tech videos on those brands as well?
At one point or another, they'll be coming.
They will be coming, yes.
They will be coming actually in a couple months. We will be doing more focus on those platforms, so I expect that we will be coming up with some stuff. Is there anything specific, since you're asking about whether or not we're going to see Chevy and Dodge, is there anything specific that you want to see? That's the question. So send us your thoughts on that and what you want to see, and we'll see what we can do to make it happen.
We'll see what we got laying around.
Ooh, should we do hit the smiley face button if you want the new time slot to be at 11 to 12?
Yeah.
And then hit the heart button if you want it to be the traditional 1:30 or whatever we were doing it before.
Nerd Kid came back, says, I want a 2650 for an LS.
Oh man, you can go to Magnus.
Say you can go to Magnus and get that right now.
Yeah. Victor Xavier says, which VMP throttle body do you recommend for the Cobra Jet intake on a 14 GT strip street car? Dual 67, 69, or single blade?
I'd recommend a dual 69.
Yeah.
With the 11 to 14 native electronics. Then you don't need an adapter Y harness. You just need I mean, you might not even need an extension harness. It might just plug in if you put the motor on the passenger side. Which I can't remember if it's
I'm
on
trying
passenger
to. I was
side.
messing around with Chucky, and I don't remember. I think
we
you
had
can
a
flip
Y
it over.
harness set up on that one.
We had a Y harness on it, but I don't think it. I'm trying to remember.
Well, we had the GT500 electronics.
Oh,
on
that's
that
right.
one.
That one. That one wasn't the new one. Never mind.
Okay.
Larry Duran says, I need my dyno tune.
Dyno tune. I think Larry's Thursday. I think he's the first one on Thursday, actually.
Ken says,
Or
hey,
Friday.
Unabomber.
Do what?
He says, hey, Unabomber.
Ken who?
Ken Kroskell?
Unabomber. Who's Unabomber?
I think he's talking about you and the beard.
Ted
He says-
Kaczynski.
I know. That's why I'm like, wait. I'm
He
not
says
a Unabomber.
13 Shelby tuned for 100, 94 plus Bustane, 750 to the wheel. Will running MS-109 instead get me a few extra ponies?
Not really. It gets you a little bit of I want to say a little bit less. I think MS-109 stoic point's 13.41.
Yeah, it's really low.
So you get a little bit less headroom on your fuel system, but if you're running 93 in Bustane right now, I'd say you're kind of like on that fuzzy line in between MS-109 and Bustane of where like I'd probably throw another degree and a half at it comfortably. It just depends on how the tune's set up right now.
Neil Brillhart says, Neil again, where do I go from here? Do I do a Gen 3 or cams on the 91 Octane tune? What are the benefits, negatives, and gains? E85 stations are scarce.
If E85 stations are scarce, I'd say that Bustane's probably a better bet. It's going to have a significantly lower initial cost, and
He said 91 would be the main fuel.
Okay, so even 91 in Bustane, I think you can still get 98 or 99 octane out of it.
Yeah.
Which is still a pretty decent octane number, and you can get, at 98 octane versus 91, you can get most of the gain of going to E85 without any of the associated costs of upgrading your fuel system with a dual pump return setup and then an injector to support it, like a FIC 1000, DW95, ID 1050. So I'd say that Bustane is probably, because of the scarcity of E85 specifically to your situation, Bustane's probably a better bet. In most other cases, I'd prefer to just go to E85, but that's assuming that it's easily available.
And then touching on what he said, but the cams, cams are, I mean, if he has to do one or the other, Cams will also help because you're dropping cylinder pressure. So basically, you're making more power without raising the boost. So you don't necessarily increase the octane needs of the engine with camshafts.
Yeah, you're just increasing the
So
its
you
ability to breathe.
could put cams in it and make more power on the
I'd
same
say
91.
that if it's a GT500, cams make more sense.
Yeah.
But if it's a 5-liter on a mild setup of 91 octane, I don't think cams make sense.
No, not right there.
For me, it's like cams in a 5-liter are when you're 18 pounds of boost, E85, built motor, and you need an extra 30 or 40 horsepower. That's like, to me, where cams make sense on a 5-liter.
Correct.
Alex K, or Key, K, apparently you're working with him to trying to nail down an issue. Apparently he's having a problem with his 17 stage 3 Rouse with a low voltage code. I guess he hates only driving for an hour and then it throwing the wrench light, and he said thanks for trying to help him nail down the problem.
No problem, buddy. So a little bit of context, he has a Roush car that was built at Roush that had an intermittent fail-safe problem before getting a tune, and we've eliminated the Y harness connector. Still has an intermittent fail-safe. He's swapped the pedal assembly. Still has an intermittent fail-safe. So it's like now we're going to be going down the road of trying to see if there's anything I can do in the tune to keep that from happening.
You covered what I would have done already.
Yeah, and it's got a new throttle body too. Roush sent him a new throttle body, but it's still doing it. So it's like it's the harness, the throttle body, the pedal.
We know it's a throttle actuator related?
It's I think P2112. It's throttle position, AB correlation, pedal, or something like that, yeah. Or not AB correlation, it's the... I'll have to look at the code, but anyways, it's something that hasn't been just like an after-tune thing. It's been like a common problem that he's been trying to fix this whole time.
And it's random whenever it acts up.
Yeah.
Turbinator Lou says, hey Joe, thanks for the response on average rear wheel numbers. You replied around 440 to the wheel. Is that in 93 or E85?
So I assume we're talking about an 03 Cobra. You might have to refresh my memory here. If we're talking about it just like a Pulley 03 Cobra, anywhere from like 440 to 480 wheel with like a basic cold air setup, stock injectors, and mild exhaust modification on 93.
93, yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Cobras. Let's start. Jesus.
Justin Forrest says, my nerves are shot waiting on updates with the car. 2 weeks left.
Yeah, I think Justin said he was going to be sending you an email or something with an update or question for you.
Mustang 87 says, how to make 1,000 horse wheel reliably. He says, buy a
Koenigsegg?
Koenigsegg?
Yep.
Oh, man.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Nick says, which half shafts do you recommend for a 17 GT Roush charged?
Manual or auto? What type of power is it making? If it's just a stock Roush, I believe they, from Roush, upgrade the half shafts to like, is it a G-Force 850 half shaft or the Ford Performance?
It's their Ford Performance one, which I believe is made by G-Force.
Yeah, and I think it's the 850s. So I'd say if you have a Roush car that was built at Roush, I don't know that I'd worry about upgrading the half shafts unless you're over what G-Force or Ford Performance is rating those half shafts for. Auto car, I don't know that I'd change them at all. Just make a conscious effort to lift when you get wheel hop and do everything you can to avoid it.
I'd say it takes a lot to break
like that car that we were talking about earlier, the MFP car, stock half shaft, stock torque converter, stock transmission, stock engine, stock rear diff, just 17-inch welds with a decent drag radial, and
it's amazing how well the stock converter works when it's got enough torque in front of it.
Yep. Yep. And that car, for those that missed it, it was 964 at 145.5. Jeez. And that mirrors the stuff that we've done multiple times in other customers' cars. It's not like that's
it's just a big deal because it's over there.
Exactly, exactly.
Turbinator Lou came back and says a 5-liter Coyote swap car, Louis Ramos.
Okay. Oh, so Lou's talking about power numbers on the 5-liter Coyote swap car. Yeah, so not a Cobra. For some reason, I thought you said like Cobra Lou or something, so it made me think of Cobra numbers.
Terminator Lou.
There we go.
There it is.
Okay, so that's why. Yeah, those power numbers sound good for what we had discussed. That's like Coyote swap. I think he's got a Boss manifold, and he just went to E85 with some 47s and stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy. They're making, with bolt-ons, they make what the Cobras used to make with a supercharger.
They don't make the torque that the Cobras make, but they...
Oh, I know, I'm just saying.
But they do...
Technology.
They do, and they make great power for what they are. TI VCT is a beautiful thing.
Tim is asking, when do you guys change fuel filters?
On a lot of these newer cars, they don't come with fuel filters, at least in terms of 5 liters.
Yeah, they just have the socks in the bottom, on the pumps themselves, which is terrifying to me.
Exactly, and a lot of what I'd make recommendations-wise on a stock car would be just look at your service manual, whatever it recommends for service intervals on the fuel filter, just do that.
No, if it's E85, it's different, and it's got an aftermarket fuel system.
But then we're talking
clean it
aftermarket
constantly.
stuff. Yeah,
clean it constantly.
I'd say
every time you change the oil.
It really, and it really depends on how many miles you're going every year. I wouldn't even really do it based on mileage so much as I would how many fill-ups you've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David McGinnis says, I just picked up a low mileage, about 11,000 miles, 11 GT500.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
He says, what is the best first add-on to start with? Everything is completely stock.
Gen 3.
I'll let you take this one.
Oh, God. It depends on what direction you're going to go with the car. There's always your good first mods. Usually the best bang for the buck is a cold air intake and a tune, usually. But
I'd say with the 11s, that cold air intake just with stock pulley isn't even really necessary, because the cold air in 11 is at least the 113 style open cold air.
That's true.
So like I would say tune is probably one of the best first mods you can do to that. And then keep the stock mufflers. Don't let anyone talk you out of them.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with those for sure.
They're the best sounding mufflers you can put on that car.
Yeah, I think the best bang for the buck is a tune right off the bat.
Yep.
Sabino says, hey guys, quick question. What do you like to tune with the most? SCT, HP tuners, or other programs?
So I'd say if we're just talking about what we actually use the most of currently, we do significantly more volume with SCT than we do HP.
Yes.
With that being said, I like the interface in HP a little bit more, and I like the some of the stuff they're doing with new platforms and stuff a little bit more. But for argument's sake, they both, for what we do, get the job done. So at the end of the day, we want something that we use the tool works every time we use it, it does what it needs to do, and it gets the job done.
Depends on the platform too, because from my perspective, if I'm doing a GM or a Dodge, it has to be HP tuners. It's just, there's nothing that even comes close. So it depends on your platform too.
Yeah.
So Larry Duran's chiming in here, and Larry, I want to know, have you done any other modifications to your car before we do this? So Larry says, Joe, let's do a poll on what the car should make this weekend.
A poll? Ooh.
A pool.
So, a pool?
A pool.
I thought you were saying a poll as in like P-O-L-L.
As in P-O-O-L. In other words, let's start like making bets.
Like a gambling pool?
Let's make bets on what his car should do.
That's not fair, because you can control it.
Only to a certain degree.
But then I'm also wondering, has he done any other modifications since it was here last?
He's done MFP crank support, speaking of the MFP guys. He did a little bit more boost, and I think he changed the throttle body that's on it.
Because we all know what it did when it was here. So that's why.
Yeah, I don't like betting on dyno numbers, unless it's like my truck and I've dynoed it on a dyno before and I know what it makes, and we're taking it to another dyno for a dyno day to crash the party.
Well, in my experience, every single time I've ever said, oh, it's going to make 1,000, it makes 999.8 or something, and I just want to burn everything.
Yeah, I'm not going
to... just refuses
I'm not going to jinx it, Larry. We'll let that rain act as water meth and like...
David says, hey Joe, you just tuned my 15 GT, have a 79 millimeter pulley, fuel pump booster, and 56 pound injectors. Can I run E85?
You sure can't. Especially if you're on that phase 2 pulley or 79. there's some guys that can squeak by with like an 85 millimeter. A lot of those guys I've had to data log fuel pressure and have a fuel pressure transducer wired into either the SCT or the Engage, depending on what I'm using for that platform, just so that I can monitor fuel pressure and offset everything. With that being said, I don't like doing that because we're taking the pressure drop across the injector on like a 10 PSI setup right to the edge of like where you want to be. Yeah. So like your 55 PSI base, the fuel pressure on E85 at like 10 or 12 pounds a minute of fuel flow on those setups with a booster is typically only about 42 at the rail. So you're talking about 42 PSI, across the bottom. 10 in the manifold. So it's like you're already down to like 32 PSI fuel pressure. So
spray pattern's starting to go to hell real fast.
Yep, and the injector duty cycle's going up. Can we make it work on a very low boost setup? Yes. Should you have a fuel system in the car? Yes. Ta-da.
Ta-da. Gap Time says he's got a 17 manual Roush Phase 2, upgrading to a 67 millimeter throttle body, PMAS intake, 79 millimeter pulley, FIC 1000s, and a triple pass, along with a 170 T-stat. Is this a good max effort setup for 93 and 100 octane? He says no E85 here.
I'd say that's a pretty good combo. If you wanted to go down the max effort route, I'd say that cams would make that max effort. Right now, you're like max reasonable effort, if we want to break it into tiers like that. But I'd say it's a pretty good recipe to make some good power, especially on 100 octane.
Larry Duran came back and he says he's also added a 63 millimeter upper, 15% overdrive, and 170 mono.
Yeah.
Oh, and a JLT 148. So he's added a number of new things.
Put all the sauce in it.
All of it. Every single bit of it. And is he still in the MT82? I hope not.
Larry, are you still in the MT82? Let's see what he says. Justin Forrest says, how much of a gain will the Twin 69 make for us people that already have the Twin 67? Is it a significant difference?
I'd say that if you already have a Twin 67, it's not a significant enough difference to justify the initial cost of buying a throttle body. If you're selling your old throttle body, and
then
maybe it makes a little bit more sense, but I'd say it's in the measure of 10 horsepower on a high boost setup between the 67 and the 69.
Neil wants to know cams versus a VMP Gen 3.
Ooh, on which Neil is it?
Brillhart.
Brillhart. So he's the guy that was asking us about the 93 versus 100 octane versus all that stuff. I'd revert to my previous statement when we were talking about yours. If you have a GT500, do cams. Yeah. If you don't have a GT500 and you have a 5-liter Gen 3 is a good bet, especially on 100 octane.
Nicholas says, Nicholas Anderson, 13 GT. I have a Gen 3 Stage 3 with 92 millimeter pulley, 93 octane, and VMP tune. Just an estimate of how much horsepower and boost should I make? If I change to an 88 pulley, how much would I make, and would it be safe?
So, what year did he say the car was? Did he say it was 11, 12, or 13, 14? So, 13, 14, the whole reason we changed the pulley recommendation based on model year between 11 to 14 and 15 to 17 is because the 11 to 14 engines are kind of, I'd say more so 11, 12 engines are hit or miss on whether or not they are happy at that like 700 horsepower level, and the Gen 3 can very easily make 700 horsepower.
That's for sure.
So that's the whole reason why we called out a base pulley of 92 if you're 91, and then 88 is like the 93 aggressive pulley. Boost between those two, I believe, is 10 PSI on the 92, and then the 88 should probably be just under 12 PSI at peak. So if you're measuring boost at 5,000 RPM, that's not the right way to do it with a Gen 3. It's going to be at peak that it's going to make more boost.
It's going to keep climbing slowly, but it's going to keep climbing.
Yeah, it's not like how a Pro Charger climbs in boost. It's more so like if you're pulleyed for 12 PSI peak, it'll make like 10 or 9 on the hit and then blend in about 3 pounds. So with that said, the difference between the 88 and the 92 in terms of power is probably going to be in the measure of about 15 to 20 horsepower at that level. So if your car is currently making, let's call it a manual car, 93 octane, 92 millimeter pulley, Gen 3, and some type of decent exhaust modification, it's probably making in the neighborhood of 630 and 650 wheel on the 92 millimeter pulley, going up to the, or down to the 88, depending on whether you're talking about pulley diameter or boost. Should be making about 650 to 670-ish. Just depends on how happy the fuel quality is and altitude, the air density, the what dyno it's on, all that stuff. So I don't like getting into quoting dyno numbers because then people put their car on a Mustang dyno with a parasitic multiplier of 30%, and it's like, all right, well, any dyno numbers I quoted you are gone.
Jason wants to know, did I miss an update on Chucky with the Boss intake?
Boss intake?
Oh no, that's I don't think so. We haven't done the Boss intake yet.
Okay.
Yeah, that will be, we're looking at doing another potential.
Right. I don't know what we can say and what we can't say. There's more coming.
Right. There's more coming.
Yeah, there's more coming with that.
So what you've seen on the latest Chucky episode
is
where
what you get.
We did the weight reduction and getting ready for nitrous, that's where we're at at this point. So no, you have not missed anything yet.
Chucky has been started, moved around to the side, and put there. That is it.
Ken says 13 Shelby running stainless works, high flow Catex pipe, long tubes, and am about to cut out the cat. In your opinion, any other benefits to doing this besides livability during two-step usage?
Not really.
No, not really.
I'd say it's just removing the cats is more so like a durability thing than anything else. I don't find that they're much of a restriction on a setup like that in terms of power.
So you melt one and it turns into a ball of aluminum foil. Then
it's a whole other mess. I don't even know that you can measure the horsepower loss on a dyno before it blows up.
I've done it on a CTSV.
Oh man!
And it's worth about 200 horsepower on a CTSV.
Oh man!
And it'll still run great.
Actually, speaking of Shelby Fest, I had a cat die on me inside a Hellcat.
Yeah.
A guy had me dyno a Hellcat that had a popular branded set of headers and their catalytic converters on it. Mm-hmm. And it was on the second pull that I did after about a 5 to 10 minute cool down. Like I was logging it for the guy and for the shop, and it kind of like crink, and I'm like, oh, let out.
And then did the boost just like...
Yep, boost skyrocketed. I was looking at map sensor, and I was like, I think we just lost a cat, and I go around to unstrap it, and there's pieces of catalytic converter sitting on the back of the dyno, and I'm like, yeah, so if you want to see what type of power it makes, because it was way down on power on that pull.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you really want to see what type of power it makes, you may want to like go have something done about this. And he came back about 3 hours later. And he's like, I got it fixed. And
jeez, he's dedicated.
He is. And we put it back up in the dyno, and it made like another 200 horsepower.
Yep. That's pretty common.
Yep. But like lifted just in time type of thing. Because it sounded bad. I got a video on my phone.
Sorry.
It's all good.
Jordan says, would you recommend a tune for a stock Super Snake 13 with 2,300 miles?
Super Snakes are fairly aggressive.
That, and there's like different levels of Super Snakes. There's like a
Super
Snake like visual package, and then there's like the Super Snake 1,000 horsepower.
Well, and I just went through this too, because on top of that, Shelby American also would take Super Snakes and then modify them extra at their facility. So I just went through this where we had a Super Snake, and it was like, well, the guy claimed it had cams in it, and that Shelby did it. And I'm like, how is this even a thing? So then, I ended up having to take the VIN number, call Shelby American. And they're like, oh yeah, it started off as this package, and then we added part of this package and part of this package.
So I mean, at that point, Shelby America becomes a mod shop.
That's what they're doing. Like, yes, that's what they're doing.
So it's like, I don't really want to tell you that a tune is the best idea for a Super Snake, and not from like necessarily a safety standpoint, but from the standpoint of there may not be a lot of meat left on the bone from what Shelby let it go at.
Yeah, they're not reserved. I mean, they don't send them out super aggressive, but at the same time, they're not nearly as reserved as like Ford OEM.
Exactly. I'd say that
they lean on them some, so.
I'd say that your money may be better spent by grabbing I'm sure you have some type of Shelby friends locally. See if you can borrow one of their SET devices. Go out there, make a watt hit on the street with a car at a normal operating temperature. Send me that log and be like, hey, Joe, Matt, Mike, do you think uploading a tune to this car would be worth it? And give me a list of the modifications, and I can look at the log and tell you if I think there's anything left.
Said it's an 850 horsepower Kenny Bell.
Okay, so it's probably already kind of there, but like I said...
Yeah, because that's the stock motor. That's the one that has a Kenny Bell on a stock motor.
Yeah, most of those cars I see on the dyno make about 620 wheel.
Correct.
So is there a little bit of meat on the bone with some good quality fuel? Possibly, but like I said before, try and borrow an SCT device from one of your local buddies. Just data log the car on the street, send it to us. One of the sales guys will forward it to me or something, and just let us know the mods. Let us know what conditions the log was taken under. Follow our data logging instructions and send it off, and I can let you know if there's anything left on the table.
Justin Forrest says the 850 horsepower 1314 Superman, sorry, other things coming in, with Kenny Bell puts 750 to 770 to the wheel, tuned by Shelby.
I've dynoed them on our dyno, and I've seen different results, so I'll leave it at that.
Again, this goes back to different packages too. It just
because like some of those I'm talking about are like 07 to 12 cars with the Shelby.
Yeah, the 13 ones made different, because the one I did was a 14 that I did like 2 weeks ago, and that one I think all we did was we put long tubes on it, and it made like 800 to the tire. So I can see where they would make the 750. I don't know what it baselined at, because it came in with a bad cat. Chunks of cat flying out of the exhaust in the parking lot.
That's not fun.
So
he got lucky then too.
He did.
It's those 8.5 to 1 motors saving lives, because I can tell you if a Coyote loses a catalytic converter, you have a very small amount of time to lift before it'll throw the second ringland down.
So apparently Larry Duran's still running the MT82. He says, don't judge me. And then he says he's bringing it down this winter to do the auto swap.
Nice. He shifts it like that guy in the bus driver video where he's like,
exactly. I love that video.
This is how you shift an MT82.
It was like in the Caribbean islands or something. Yeah. I've seen those guys before. They drive you like from resort to like beach and stuff like that.
It just shift. It says how to shift an MT82.
David Park says, do the 18 Mustang GT supercharged handle 700 horsepower? I was told that the 18 GT on the 17th 700 horsepower half shafts.
That was a lot.
Wait.
Does that make sense?
Read that again.
It says, do the 18 Mustang GT supercharged handle 700 horsepower?
Define handle.
And then
engine-wise, yeah.
Yeah, because are we talking about half shafts now?
And then the statement was, I was told that the 18 GT on the 17th 700 horsepower half shafts.
I don't know. We'll just focus on the power number. 700 horsepower on a good quality fuel is pretty normal for 18 up car with a blower. Like I'd say in the range, if you're talking an auto car, like 630, probably in that like 620 to 670 range, depending on the quality of the fuel.
Ryan Neville says, I have an 11 Mustang automatic. It's stock tune. I'd like to run E85 on the stock injectors. Is there a way I could pull that off?
You can, but the injector is just going to be wide open is the problem.
And was this a naturally aspirated car?
I would assume so. He said stock injectors, he would
Yeah, so if I like to break down the 11 to 17 cars like this. If it's stock intake manifold and you're on stock injectors and you're keeping the rev limiter below 7,500 or right at 7,500, you should be fine. If you're aftermarket intake manifold like Boss 302,
Yeah.
18 intake
or
manifold,
if you have any other
GT350, exactly. Then I'd say doing a LU47.
I would say just
good
put a
insurance.
47 in. They're so cheap.
Yeah, you can get a lot of them used out of like guys that have Roush blowers that upgrade. You can get 47s for 150 to 200.
I was just gonna say, I think they're like $200 average. It's just like just put them in the car.
Yeah.
Just be done with it.
So Joey, what were you asking people? You were asking them to like it if they like the old time and
Hit
love
the
it.
smiley face.
Smiley face for new time, heart for old time.
Yeah.
Okay. So guys, you heard it, and gals.
Maybe put that in the comments too or something for people that don't watch the whole thing.
So you said it. Now I'm curious. How many gals are in here? I need a head count.
Me. Me. Every once in a while, we get some girls that tune in.
I'm sure Michelle's watching.
Yeah.
So there's two.
So Joe wants to know how many gals are watching. So if you're a gal and you're watching, leave us a comment. Martin says...
Otherwise, we're just going to say guys from now on.
No.
And include you under the umbrella.
No, you're going to get the person from California.
Yeah.
That come on and they do ask questions sometimes.
I judge gender by chromosomes.
Oh, God, here it goes.
Whoa.
Oh, God.
Martin says, if I've done OPG and CS, how much harder is it at changing cams for boost?
It's not much harder to change cams if you've already done an oil pump gear crank sprocket. You're essentially doing the same thing, pulling the chains off, except you're pulling an additional chain off.
Yes.
And pulling off, like, what is it, 30 cam caps?
It's a lot. There's 5.
And not to let that intimidate you, you're talking 2 bolts each one, and then I think there's 5 on each one.
There's 9 on each one because the front one's one piece. So there's 18 cam caps.
So 36 cam caps total? Or
no, 18
9 on
total.
each head?
9 on each head.
Okay.
So there's 18 cam caps
total.
plus, yeah. It's a mess.
Yeah, it's
and don't do it wrong.
I wouldn't consider it hard, but I've been working on stuff for a long time.
Yes.
Although if you did oil pump gear crank sprocket and you're capable of following instructions and having a reasonable amount of mechanical knowledge, it's not too terribly hard to do cams.
Remember the old Haynes manuals where it would say this is a level 1, 2, 3 or whatever job. That was like a
That's
straight
like
up
3
level
wrenches.
4. Yeah, that's straight up 3 wrenches right there.
And then like they should also had a level of anxiety you will experience while doing this. And
it peaks right before you get ready to hit the button.
Or maybe like an asterisk that they throw on there if it's like a level 2 with high anxiety or like a level 1 with high anxiety.
Like I said, and the anxiety peaks right as you're about to push the button.
Exactly.
Because you start going, did I tighten that?
Exactly.
And you did, but you're just like...
You second guess yourself.
I don't know if I did that. Ah.
Like even like paint pinning bolts as you tighten it, after you get it back together, you're like, did I torque that? Then you go like replay your mental video.
Yes.
We have about 3 minutes left, just so you know.
Sweet.
Poor Boy says, thanks VMP. I went to Lido Dyno Day. I did 388 to the wheel with a 93 tune last year. He said, I added pipes off-road X and new 93 tune and reached 410 to the wheels. He says, thanks again.
Nice. That's like what?
It's a decent game.
22 horsepower?
That's actually closer to 30.
Closer to 30, yeah.
You did 388 to 410. So that's 20, about 20.
Yeah, 22.
Yep.
I know math.
All right.
I got you, fam.
William says, 09 GT500, Gen 1 TBS, no cats, 10% lower. Looking to drop upper from 3-inch to 2.7. What boost increases can I expect?
So we usually tell people every 0.125 inches of pulley diameter that you drop is about a pound of boost. So
I'd say it's about 2.
Yeah, about 2.5 pounds. Assuming you don't have a crazy inlet or exhaust restriction.
Or a plug cat.
Yeah, don't have a plug cat. Do everything you can to not have a plug cat.
Jay Zuniga says, hey VMP peeps, Joe finally sent you a data log yesterday, sir.
Nice. I was actually, that may have been why your name sounded familiar just then. I saw an email come in from Jay Zuniga yesterday.
Justin Forrest says, after the 500 is done, I may have you guys start my Fox. It's untouched, all stock, 5-liter AOD car.
The old slush box.
Yeah.
He says, Coyote auto swap planned. Will you tune it if it's turbo, or are you guys not trying to mess with a setup similar?
I will tune anything.
I will tune basic, kind of like Matt said, anything.
I will tune anything.
I don't really care if it has a turbo on it, or if you want to go down the other road. I don't care if it has a Whipple on it, a turbo on it, a Kenny Bell, Paxton Pro Charger, Vortec, Nitrous Express versus NX versus Zex. I don't care, man. As long as the car is set up right and it's something I'm comfortable with tuning, I'll tune it. I don't care whose power adder's on it.
So just an FYI, so far you have 3 smiley faces, 1 heart, and 13 thumbs up.
I don't know. It kind of seems like 11's the new time. Maybe we'll give it one more shot at the 130, then you guys can let us know.
Yeah, because the 130 people aren't watching right now to vote for the 130.
They have no vote.
So we need to do the 130 time, let them vote, and then we'll look at the 2 together.
Yeah, see.
Or put an actual legitimate poll together.
DC S550. This is going to be the last question. Says, am I maxed out on 93 pump? He's got a 17 GT Roush 2.3 supercharger, 79 millimeter pulley, DW 95 injectors, and PMOS cold air and fuel pump booster.
I'd say the only other thing you could do to increase power is throw a Twinjet 67 or Twinjet 69 on it. It's worth mentioning that the Twinjet 69 will not fit the Roush elbow. You'd have to do a little bit of grinding to get the blades to clear, and you'd need to convert the harness coming from the passenger side to the driver's side. So my recommendation would be a Twin 69 that either has the electronics of a GT500 and a little bit of grinding, or to just put a Twin 67 on. Power between the two is going to be similar, but the only way you can really get more power safely out of that combo is adding Octane or going to something like E85.
He's probably at the limit of the 93.
Yeah.
So this might be a wrench in your new time slot.
Oh my.
Point taken. You have another smiley face and another heart. But Bry2K made it a point to sit there and say 130 is better for those on the West Coast.
I don't know.
He says
is it though?
Really too early for them on the West Coast at 8 o'clock in the morning.
They're not even if they're awake, they're not really awake.
Because I was going to say I wake up at like 6:30.
How many people are actually driving at that time, driving into work?
I don't know. That might be a better time to get them instead of when they're sitting at their desk at work.
Exactly.
Like just set it on the dashboard and listen to it.
They're on their way in.
See?
Distracted driving at its finest.
Exactly. Like don't let people lie to you. Everyone either listens to something or watches something while they're driving.
That's true.
So
what about if you change it up and you every other?
Ooh, keep on their toes. Like not even every other, just random.
Oh
just
God.
Just decide day of.
Yeah.
That's how you make people mad.
And with that said,
It's 2:30 already?
it's
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock, buddy.
Oh,
You said 2:30. Look at you.
damn it.
It's 12:02.
It's about that time I get on that dusty trail.
I think someone's got to get on the road.
Yeah, exactly. How did the other poll turn out? Are we just saying guys from now on, or guys and girls?
I'm still going to say guys and girls. Although someone did say that they identified as a, what was it, helicopter of sorts.
See?
There's a helicopter.
An attack helicopter.
I love it.
Yeah, Tim Ovis says, I identify as an attack helicopter.
So is that like an Apache or like the new one that came out? I forget what it's called now.
Oh God.
There's a new one compared to the Apache. So I need to know whether or not you're an Apache or like a Black Hawk. I don't know that I'd consider a Black Hawk an attack helicopter.
So Bry2K came back and says, I'm awake, but at work and morning meetings. The later time is better because I'm just working at my desk. So,
Can
so
we make everyone happy?
we're getting a
slew
of likes coming in, yes. Ryan Reeves says, Matt, if your last name is Whedon, that's actually Mike Whedon.
Yes.
Thanks for getting my throttle body issues resolved.
Yeah, that was Mike Whedon.
We will let Mike know that he
That's
did
Redbeard.
good.
I'll be on the road with Mike for the next 16 hours over the next 2 days.
God, make sure you guys stop at Taco Bell before you leave.
I haven't had a bad time at Taco Bell.
You asked about the helicopter, a Russian hind.
Ooh.
Ooh, man, I like it. Huh?
Taco Tuesday.
I know, and we can't
I
go.
feel like I
We're
need
gonna
to
be driving.
I think I'd rather identify as a Thunderbolt.
Just swing in with the dyno trailer and all. You know how parking is over there.
God, you guys are a glutton for punishment.
Man.
And with
Truck's
that
coming back with
said,
no windows in it.
I need you all to wish us luck on the road that we don't get any flats with the dyno trailer. Because it's really hit or miss, and it adds like 45 minutes to every time it happens. So I need fingers crossed, I need rabbit's feet, kangaroo balls, the works.
it is 12:04.
Okay.
One more question just came in. Do you want to handle it real quick? Or
Let go.
Sure.
I mean, we're already sitting here.
Martin50 says one more question. How much boost would you throw at a stock Gen 2 Coyote with off-road exhaust?
All of
it. Depending on what fuel it's on, if we're talking like E85 or race gas, 15 to 17 pounds, anything more than that, and I think you should really consider a short block. At least if we're talking blower stuff. Turbo stuff, you can get away with a little bit more, but they do make more power.
Yeah, it'll make power at the same level. So
yeah, so 15, 17 pounds, like kind of like where I'm comfortable with the Gen 2 short block. Much past that, and I'm like, eh. And even then, like 17 pounds, I really wish they had head bolts.
Yeah.
Head studs.
And with that said,
reading rainbow.
I told you we need that.
let's call it
Butterfly in the sky.
I can do anything. Take a look. It's in a book. Reading rainbow.
I told you it needs to be our intro. It needs to go right across here.
It does.
Oh my gosh.
Well, have a good week, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Have fun.
Bye, guys.